2017, President of the United States put into action to do what the Congress had passed legislation to do 22 years ago, which to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. 1995, the Congress passed legislation saying the United States recognizes the city of Jerusalem as the capital of the nation of Israel. But each president since then has basically signed a document, a waiver document, saying, yeah, but we're not going to do anything about it. It's too unsafe, and it was a 6-month thing. So every 6 months, for the last 22 years, presidents, Republican and Democrat, liberal and conservative, have signed this thing saying, yeah, we know the Congress passed this, but we're not really going to do it. We're not really going to do it. And what our current president said was, no, I'm going to do it. And we all know and have read in the paper and all of the commotion that this has caused. But he has identified Jerusalem as the capital of the nation of Israel. Some interesting things, which is that happened in 2017, 100 years after the Balfour Declaration, which was the declaration by Great Britain at the end of World War I to establish a nation that the Great Britain said, we determine that a nation should be established for Israel in what was then called Palestine. 1917. Interesting. 50 years after the establishment of the nation of Israel, 1947. Interesting that it happens in that sequence. I don't know if our president knew that or anybody in his entourage knew that and said, hey, this would be a good time to do it because of all, I don't know. But I find it interesting. But what I find more interesting is that the nation of Israel was established without control of Jerusalem. You do know the story that the reason in the 67 war and the 70 the Yom Kippur war, the reason there was war was because Israel was attacked. If you listen to the news today and talk about occupied territories and all this stuff, you can come to the conclusion that Israel decided to go in and take over this or no, they were attacked. And in that, they did take territory. Up to the north in the Golan Heights, up to the west, that had not been part of what had been given at that time, but what had been established, the lines back in the early days around the Balfour Declaration. It's interesting history if you look at the history of that. But Jerusalem, the city of Jerusalem, and the old city of Jerusalem is under the control of the nation of Israel right now, governmentally. That was inconceivable for the last 150 years. It was inconceivable for the last 2,000 years. That there would be a nation there and that Jerusalem would be under the control of the Jews.